Welcome, everybody, officially. I am R. Christian Minson, your host for these Facebook Lives every Friday, Breathwork Edition. Today, we're talking about the theory of everything. The theory of everything. So, buckle your seatbelts. I am the former director of breathwork for the last 2-3 years at Rhythmia Life Advancement Center in Guanacaste, Costa Rica. I am also a former monk of 10 years with the Self-Realization Fellowship and Paramahansa Yogananda right back here. I'm currently a spirit-based coach. I'm a speaker, an author, a certified transformational breath facilitator, and senior trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation for the last 13 years. And basically, that makes me your catalyst for living an ever-evolving life of true happiness and well-being. So if you need somebody to catalyze your happiness and your well-being, I'm the guy to call. And so today we're talking about the theory of everything. This is really just my take on boiling down the experience of life to the real essentials, all right? Now, I know out there's a scientific theory of everything. We get into quantum physics and all that, and this isn't really what it's about. But I borrowed that topic, the topic title. Maybe it'll get a few scientific interests to come across this page, and then see more of the spiritual dimension of things. Though I think any scientist working these days on the theory of everything really has some kind of spiritual bent to their mindset, even if they're trying to be very pure in their scientific approach, which is a good thing for scientists to be. But so this isn't the scientific theory of everything trying to bring the creation of the universe into one nice little theoretical equation, but it is helping us frame the experience of life. And this is really based on my 25 years traveling a spiritual path, the 10 years where I really dove deep and lived the monastic lifestyle, and then 52 years basically of life experience, which we all have, and if we pay attention, that experience can be valuable. So this is the topic we're diving into today. Hello, anybody else that's joined on in this time? And get into it. So why are we talking about this? I think basically we all have a desire to understand. We're really striving to get a grip on life, especially when life is kind of tumultuous like it is in these current lockdown times and COVID times. And what is the truth? What is it that we can really sink our teeth into as the foundation of life and help us progress forward? So we all want to know what it means to be alive, to put some purpose behind our actions. So now some of us have probably found that and are working along those lines, and that's a great thing. For those of us who haven't, or who have but continue to see that it continues to evolve, then this is the right place. Now, I'm a guy that likes to boil things down to the bare essentials. I like to get back to the basics. In fact, those years as a monk, 10 years I spent basically doing 5 activities on a daily basis, the 5 foundational activities, what I call the 5 daily habits of highly spiritual people. And I've talked about that already in one of the past Facebook Lives here. But basically that's to illustrate that we really got down to the basics. Each day we sat to meditate. We just went over the same basic checklist. Was the spine straight? Was the gaze at the spiritual eye? Was my mind focused? It isn't rocket science. It is very basic science of living. And the more, I think there is a scientific principle out there that says, all things considered, the simplest solution is the correct one. And there again is really trying to boil it down, bring it back to simplicity. The universe is actually very simple at its foundation, and this is what I strive to do in all the things that I learn for myself, all the ways that I try to help people simplify, bring it back to the foundation, bring it back to the basics. That's why the breath is such a powerful tool, because the breath is at the foundation of everything we do. Physically, it's the foundation of our health and wellness. Emotionally, it's the foundation of our balance and our relationship to our emotions. And spiritually, it's the foundation of our ability to reach higher states of consciousness. In fact, the techniques that I practice, again with Paramahansa Yogananda here, very high level meditation techniques. The fundamental thing we focused on was the breath going up and down the spine, unlocking the life force energy that's within that breath. So the breath is really foundational. Another reason why I'm talking about this topic today is if you end up working with me, either coaching or going through breath sessions with me, what I'm about to talk about is really the background from which I derive all my guidance and all the questions I may pose to you, all of the thoughts that I may plant in your head, the directions that I may offer, really come from this foundation of this theory of everything, how it all works at a very simple level, so that we can always be making our actions meaningful, that we can always, when we weigh them against the points of what I'm about to talk about, we can see, am I doing something that's furthering my life and happiness, or am I doing something that at best is just spinning my wheels, and at worst is making me go backwards, right? Right. So if you do end up working with me, this again is the framework. And I've been pleasantly surprised in this time of lockdown and people retreating inwardly, how many people have reached out and actually gotten coaching or breath sessions with me. And so I'd like to encourage that. If you are interested, reach out to me either by messaging me here on Facebook or emailing me, christian@breathflow.com. Go to my website, breathflow.com, and fill out the contact form and contact me there. Many ways you can get in touch with me. I'd love to carry on the conversation on an individual level. All right, so let's get into the content. What is this theory of everything? And again, just as a disclaimer, this is my take on the world based on my past experience, as I said, as a spiritual path, as a monk, and just living life in general in a spirit of awareness. I call this a map, a map or a framework. Any map is there to help guide you along the way. The map is never the totality of your experience. You don't get a road map and it doesn't then tell you what temperature is outside or what the terrain looks like, right? It helps you navigate, but it doesn't tell you everything. A topographical map with the terrain isn't gonna, tells you where the peaks and valleys are, but there's other information that it doesn't necessarily have. So with any map, it helps to guide you, to get you where you want to go, but it isn't the be all and end all of your experience. Your experience is still the fundamental thing we're interested in. Always use these maps as guidance, not as the the gospel, including gospels. Our gospels, our Bible, our Bhagavad Gita, our spiritual paths are maps. They're maps that are guiding us. They're not the be all and end all of life. And this is where a lot of us get caught up. We start codifying experience and trying to freeze it into these precepts and these words and these things. And then when real life doesn't actually jive with something, which it may jive with most of the time, but then sometimes it doesn't, how do we meet that? Are we inflexible and we sit here saying this is what the text says and this is how it must go? Or do we actually experience life and say this is what the moment is calling for? This is what life is bringing to us in this moment. And so how can we make our choices based on that? All right, so the theory of everything. Basically, in the beginning, this comes from one more caveat here. I strive to teach from experience. All right. So what I have to tell you most of the time comes from personal experience. And if it doesn't, I try to say that. So this idea, first of all, this whole thing is built on the precept that uh, life is one. That there was in the beginning, there was what we'd say God, divinity, the universal vibration. Even science these days has that same theory. The Big Bang. We all started from one point, one thing. All right, this I can't corroborate from my own experience. I can't say that I remember being that one, but I buy into that idea. And the whole foundation here, it starts by buying into that idea. Now, this one, what we call God or the source, is a vibration. The Eastern philosophies call it the Om vibration, and I feel like the major characteristic of this vibration is love. All right, so the one vibration of all things is love. And so the one divided. Now, how and why? That'll be a question once you return to the one to get answered. In fact, there may be a concept here that we're divided and one at the same time. If you take the idea of a wave, think about FM radio or even AM radio. All right, hopefully some of us still listen to the radio. The radio is full of vibrations of music, vibrations of people talking, right? All these different vibrations. Those vibrations are carried on what they call a carrier wave, another vibration that carries all of these vibrations within it. And then when it goes to our radio receiver, that wave translates all these other waves of sound frequency and all that. So in the same way, that love vibration is kind of the carrier wave. It is there constantly, but within it is all these diversified, differentiated vibrations, which becomes us. We are ultimately just a vibration. And again, science has proven this, that everything is just energy. And at its basic form, we're just a soup of this energy. So we could think of the one as this carrier frequency, and then all of our other individualized frequencies are happening within that at the same time. So we're kind of divided and one at once. Another way to look at it is I love the fractal idea of life. So ever seen a fractal, or sorry, more like a hologram? Sorry, a hologram. Hologram is a picture that's etched into a medium, right? So you have this picture. Now, if you break that picture into 5 pieces, what you would normally have is 5 separate pieces of a picture. But with a hologram, each of those 5 pieces has the entire picture that was the original. So let's say this original was of my face, right? And it breaks up into 5 pieces. We don't have an eyeball over here, an eyeball here, a mouth here, and a nose here. We have 5 full faces in these pieces. You break it up into 100 pieces, you still got 100 full faces. Now they keep getting smaller and smaller, but this is the concept that we're using. If the one divides into the many, it isn't that then the many has a little piece of the one here and a little piece of the one there, but each piece of the one, each piece that is many, has within it the entirety of the one, the holographic image of the one, the source from which it came. So we essentially are all one, even though we're diversified. Okay, so there was one, it divides, the one is love, it divides. Now, what's the purpose? If there is a purpose or not, this love is just, the idea here is this love continues to express and evolve these expressions of love. As we become individualized, we now become a unique expression of love. A yellow flower blooms, and that's a a unique expression of love. A carrot grows and becomes food, and that's another unique expression of love. Animals um, and humans, of course, these differentiated ways of expressing, and we keep evolving in this expression. So the one has divided to just be continuously expressing and evolving the expression of love in life. Right? So whether there's a purpose to that, or whether it's just the sake of the fact that it's the love vibration is simply expressing, because that's what it does. We are now individualized expressions of that love vibration, and this is what we're continually striving to do: be in love, express in love, and evolve that expression. Anybody saying hi from San Jose? Not in Costa Rica. No, I'm not in Costa Rica. You aren't either there, Randy. Good. I'm in Denver, Colorado. All right, so we got that so far. The love vibration divides to continually express love and evolve that love. Another way we call that is our self. The purpose may be our self-realization. As we are individualized beings, we're striving to remember ourselves as that one, as that love. And so to realize ourselves is to realize the love that is the essence of our nature. Now, as we come into beingness, now here we're talking specifically about ourselves as human beings, as individualized spirit, come into these physical being forms. Let's say the field through which we express love, which we're continually evolving and expressing love, is through relationship. Relationship, all of our relationships, not just your girlfriend and boyfriend, or boyfriend, boyfriend, girlfriend, girlfriend, not those romantic relationships only, but your relationship with your friends, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with your bosses, your coworkers, your random people you meet on the street. Relationship. The world does not operate in a vacuum, and this is one of the unique things I learned when I was a monk. Because as a monk comes from, or monastic comes from the root monos, which means one, individual, interiorized. We strove to be, uniquely getting back to that one through the one. But so there's some work you can do on an individual, and I'd say that is our primary relationship, our relationship with ourselves, and our relationship with ourselves as the one. But when it comes time to express this love and this realization, it happens in the context of other people, of other beings. So it's rarely, if ever, except for times where we remove ourselves from the fray, that most of the time our expression and our learning happens in relationship. All right, so it's a fundamental idea that we can't escape these relationships, that these relationships are the ground with which we come back to understanding who we are as the one. And as we see the reflection, again, as remember the holographic nature, we look at somebody else and we see that same reflection of the one that we see in ourselves and in everyone and everything. Right? So relationships are the main field for expressing and practicing the expression of unconditional love. And then the main tool of relationship is communication. All right, so here we are communicating. Communication is how relationship happens. So again, step by step here, where the one divides into many to learn to express love. Where that expression is happening and the learning is taking place is on the field of relationship. And on that field of relationship, the tool that's most connective, that's most enlightening, is communication. And then finally, if we get down to the nitty-gritty, what we're striving to communicate in any given moment, I feel is ultimately respect. Respect is a particular aspect of love that solidifies the foundation of the relationship so that the love can emerge from it. Right? So here are the one, universal love becomes many. We've divided into many to express love and to figure out, to realize ourselves as that love. The field from which we do this all on is relationship. The tool that we use in relationship primarily is communication. And the fundamental thing that gets communicated through all words, through all actions, is either respect or not respect. And this came to me once when I was in the ashram. Michael is saying, respect, namaste, yes, indeed. And Chad, hey, still in Florida, good to see you. Good to see you on. Welcome. All right. Respect. I was in the ashram experience midway through my 10 years, and I was in an argument, a discussion, let's say, a heated discussion with one of the other monks. And no matter, like, we disagreed. One had one opinion, one had the other opinion. The more you forced this opinion on this guy, the more he retreated. The more he forced his opinion on me, the more I retreated. Until it dawned on me that no matter what we were saying, what the way we were saying it and how we were saying it wasn't communicating respect. I could see that no matter how much we tried to convince each other, the fact that there was no respect there was made us unable to see each other's points of view. So I changed my tack and I started to express things that laid a foundation of respect. That, said, I appreciate you as a person. I know that you're intelligent. I value your opinions and all this kind of stuff. And as it did, he started to relax. And then he started to be able to hear my point of view, which it just confirmed to me that it's kind of like that carrier wave thing again. It's like if the carrier wave is the frequency of respect, you can hear all of the different information on the inside. If that's out of sync with the frequency of respect, you can't hear anything that's inside that carrier wave. So anyway, I started to express respect, and he got it. Now, we still didn't agree with each other, right? But the whole tone of the conversation changed and shifted. And it wasn't really, the lesson that day wasn't that I was trying to convince him or he was trying to convince me, but that we could learn to have differing opinions and still be harmonious when respect was there. If it wasn't there, our differing opinions become the main thing, and I have to do everything I can to try to convince this guy that he's wrong and he's an idiot, he's whatever. And this, if you can, if you just look at where the world is in conflict and in disarray, it's because people aren't really communicating respect. They're communicating their information, they're just blurting it out. Social media is a great way to blurt out your opinion without any consequence or any sense of what do you call it? Well, respect, basically. That you see that without the respect there, people just comment. Somebody comments on that comment, and it goes spiraling down in this negative exchange. If somebody can say, I hear your opinion, I value you as a person, I respect where you're coming from, and I feel this way. It's a whole different kind of conversation. And I dare say that is then where unconditional love can start to emerge, and we can start to return to what I feel again is the purpose of it all, to realize ourselves as love, and to express our true nature as love. And when we do that, then the whole conversation becomes very unifying, and our relationships become deeper. All right, so let me just tune in. Stand for something and sit respectfully. Excellent, Tammy. And so that is the theory in a nutshell. All right. This now, how do we use this information? How can we take this and make it actually useful? And once again, use it as a map. Use it if you're trying to get from here, like I was trying to get from here, Denver to Boulder. I pull out the map and I say the best way is this path. So now I've got some direction. Take this map and say, I've got these challenges in my life. Where am I not? Where's the map telling me I'm going off course? And so the simplest thing here is to recognize that if we are all love, that really the practice here is to express love, in everything we do. And I say unconditionally expressing love. This means in all circumstances, whether you are praised, whether you're blamed, whether you're ignored, you are still love at your core. And if you're expressing it, you're in alignment with your core. If you are not expressing it, then you are out of alignment with who you truly are, the one energy of love that you truly are. Let me just see. Randy saying, I observed this just yesterday on the Facebook thread. Someone expressed their opinion and someone else countered with a personal attack, and it went south quickly from there. So unnecessary. So much in agreement there, Randy. And you could just throw a dart at your Facebook post and you'd find that probably happens more often than it doesn't. And again, respect. So we're striving to express love in all circumstances, in every interaction. And you're like, well, there's plenty of times where love is not called for, right? I mean, I have a right to be angry. I have a right to be upset. I have a right to feel a victim. Like if you've been abused or you've been mistreated. Well, let me tell you, when I was at Rhythmia, one of the greatest things is at the end of the nights, ceremony nights, people go through the plant medicine experience, have all these awakenings and understanding. At the end, we kind of come together as a group and share. Anybody who wanted to share raised their hand and then expressed anything that came to them. And this one woman who'd been struggling all week and struggling with, you could say, validity, she began to talk about her experience and said, first, I came here as a broken person. I had been abused all my life physically. I've been abused sexually by my uncle, by my father, by, my mother stood by and did nothing. I, physically been battered. I've been lied to, cheated, stolen from. Like if there was anybody who had a rightful chip on her shoulder, it would be her. And she said, and tonight I realized that it's all love. And she said, all I can do is love it and recognize that every experience has come to me as love for the purpose of me realizing now that it's all love. And I was like, holy wow. If somebody with that much, what we could rightfully call negative experience could come forth and say, despite everything that I experienced, I still see and understand at my core that it's all love, then I think just about any one of us could do the same. And so this is it. No matter whether, it doesn't matter what anybody else is expressing towards you, your mandate to get back in alignment with the oneness of who you are, the oneness of that love vibration, is to express love. that love vibration. So if you can express love, you are essentially in oneness at that moment. As soon as you say, well, I don't deserve that, or that person's a jerk, and I'm gonna get my revenge or whatever, you've, you've drifted away. And this doesn't hurt the other person. It doesn't hurt the universal one. The only one it hurts is you. So this is the first thing that we can do. Tammy's saying, beautiful. Donna's saying, I treat people with respect and honor, but they do not treat me the same. When is it okay to respectfully retreat? How do you do this lovingly instead of wandering off like a wounded jaguar into the woods? Well, great question. And then Tammy's saying, absolutely, I guess in response to what I've been saying. So you come at people with respect. At some point, there is intelligence involved here. We have to see where, as they say, choose your battles wisely. You get into, if every time you go into a relationship, it's the same thing. That you just, no matter how much love you pour at somebody, they just come back at you. There is a point where you have to choose whether it's valid for you to stay in that relationship and strive to make those efforts, or whether it's time for you to go, that person needs a stronger lesson for them to wake up, and they can't take your gentle approach. At least they're showing that they can't take your approach by continually berating you. Now, how do you retreat lovingly instead of wandering off like a wounded jaguar? A lot of that is in your own intention. If you're wandering off as a wounded jaguar, you're basically feeling like you're a victim. Recognize, am I a victim? Am I feeling like a victim in this circumstance? Am I feeling like something's being done to me and that I don't deserve this? And if that's the energy with which you're retreating, then I'd say that's the wounded jaguar into the woods. You don't want to. That's what you want to avoid. But if you come with every olive branch peace offering, you've striven to reconcile the relationship every way that you've been possible. Maybe you've suggested counseling, maybe you're suggesting a mediation, maybe you suggested reading books together, watching videos, different angles of how to approach things, and nothing seems to be changing the dynamic. Then that's for you to bow to that person and say, I recognize you as another expression of the one that is beyond my capacity to be able to get through to at this stage, and so I'm releasing that relationship. You might actually express that, or you might just express that inward and retreat from that relationship. But you do not need to stay in that relationship if and this is not to say too, like when we talked about the woman getting abused, you don't be abused and go, oh, this is all love. You're part of love is respect, right? Again, we're communicating, get back to respect. The first one you need to respect is yourself, right? So if you recognize that people are acting out of disrespect for you or not respecting you, you're in your right to respect you and to take actions which are going to be respectful to yourself and ultimately, respectful to them too. And so hopefully that answers. It's a big question, Donna, and if not, if that didn't answer it completely for you, then we can go deeper. But Donna said, I feel more like grumpy and hurt. Yeah, that's your ego, right? That's ego saying, oh, licking your wounds. Oh, that they shouldn't have done that. I wish I was treated better. We all wish. I have an amazing life, and I still wake up going, I wish this was different. I wish that was different. I haven't, here we are. I've been basically, based here in Colorado for this COVID-19 thing, and I really was striving to be with my girlfriend, my significant other, in Dubai at the onset of this, and the borders closed down just the day before I was to fly out, and I could rail against the powers that be, and why this happened, and all, and feel hurt, and I did a little bit, and recognize that that wasn't really getting me anywhere. That wasn't helping. Now there is some, uh, there is grief that needs to be expressed whenever we experience a loss, and that loss can be significant, like the loss of somebody, the loss of a job, the loss of, or it can be, just the loss of an idea or the loss of an opportunity. In this case, I didn't get to, to be together with, somebody who I loved, and now I'm having to live separated. So there's a loss, and there's grief that can be expressed, and that's what breathwork is really helpful for. Breathwork can help process those feelings, so that are valid. But those feelings that then you use as fuel to go back and poke at somebody else, and start acting in a less respectful way. That's where we start to get off course. Fiona is on, sending me hugs and love. Excellent, Fiona. Well, by sending the hugs and love, you are aligning with that vibration of love, which you are. So great to see you. Tammy, if we stay where we continue to be hurt, maybe look at if we are loving ourselves. This relationship can be to show us on some level that we don't feel worthy of love. That's a great way. If you're staying in an abusive relationship, if you're staying in a relationship that isn't expressing respect or isn't respecting love, that's a mirror, really. Everything is a mirror saying, hey, how are you ultimately expressing towards yourself? And so beautifully put, Tammy, and hearts back to you, Fiona. Okay, so how we use this information, one, is to remember at the foundational level, we're here to express love in every moment, every interaction, everything. What I'm doing right now is embodying love, striving to offer information that's going to uplift and enlighten you. How you respond then? Are you going to respond in love, even if you don't agree with me? That's again where the respect comes in. Another way that we can utilize this information, and to me, this is back to basics. What are the things we can do day in and day out that are going to forward our life versus just spin our wheels? Somebody said, with regards to time, you can either spend time or you can invest time. All right, spend time is like, watching TV and mindlessly chilling out. There's a place for spending a little bit of time. Like you have money, you don't just buy the necessities and all that. Sometimes you spend money to just have fun. So spending time, but investing time is where we should really look. Is your time being invested? So the activities that this map is helping us to decipher are what I feel are investments in time. Any expression of love is an investment in you and an investment in the world. Any time you spend working on relationships, getting better at relationship, sitting down with somebody and consciously saying, hey, do you want to work on this relationship? Let's find a way. Or reading books about relationships, going to courses, going to couples therapy, going on couples retreats, anything that you can do to practice relationship. And the same goes for communication then. Any kind of activity that furthers your efforts in communication. And that may be trying to communicate with somebody and, blah, 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 and all this crap pours out and doesn't go very well. But that is time invested. You're striving to communicate. Now, if you're very poor at it, once again, read books, watch videos, tons of stuff on YouTube. Here, my Facebook lives are, as I said, my whole the way I help people is based in this philosophy. So you can bet that somewhere along the line, I'm really going to be looking at, if you're working with me, how are your relationships? How is your skill at communication? How well are you communicating respect? So any kind of education and any kind of time spent on relationship, on communication, or on respect, understanding these things, learning to navigate them, is going to be time spent, time invested in getting you back in alignment with who you truly are, the oneness of that love vibration. Okay, and then breath work. My final point on how we can help, how this can help us. Using breathwork is always a fantastic tool. It's an accelerator. It's a life accelerator. You go into the breath process, and through it, you where you might not be feeling respect for yourself and all that, you start to align, at least temporarily, with that higher vibrational frequency of who you are, this love, and that helps anchor it in a little bit more, so that you can go back out there and fight a better fight. As you're going through the breathwork process, often emotions, things, as we were talking about, whether we're expressing respect or not. Usually we're not expressing because we're holding on to old energies, old experiences that we haven't fully integrated yet, things that aren't that weren't pleasant in our lives, and we tried to avoid them, so we stuffed them down. That energy is actually blocking us from that full. It's like we're on a path to love, the high peak of love, and along the way, boulders came, part of the mountain sloughed off, and now the path is strewn with boulders and trees. We have to sit there and clear that path before we can continue on up the mountain. So those experiences where, like this woman I told the story of, her abuse is her, the things that happened to her were the things that she had to clear out of the way. And when she did, she saw how not only was she aligned with love, but how all those experiences actually helped her to get to that point in that moment. So, so breath work really helps to clear those things. And then the thing that also breath can do to help along these lines is to, as we're breathing, we'll get downloads of information, we'll get direction, we'll get information that's usually in alignment with this map, with this theory of everything, that then can say, oh, this is what I can specifically do to improve my communication and improve my communication of respect. This is something I can specifically do to let go of that blockage that's keeping me from being aligned with love. All right. So with that, let me just ask you, what if you were to use this framework in your own life? One, love divides into many, which is you now. Your whole purpose is to get back to the one, to get back to the expression of that love. And so to do that, you work on the field of relationship, you work with the tool of communication, and you work to constantly express respect. What if you use that framework to guide and judge all your actions? How would this simplify things for you? How would this make your life easier and more fluid? How would it help you stay focused on what's important and not like drift off in those things that sometimes are fun or sometimes just distracting, but don't really further your life? Spend time rather than investing in it. The bottom line, how much more peace, how much more happiness, and how much more ease and flow would happen in your life. This is what I want for all of you, and so this is why I bring you this topic today. Of course, if you want to work with me in any way, shape, or form, either with virtual breath sessions or coaching sessions, reach out to me, and we'll dive into this in a much deeper level. Just to look at what anybody else is saying. Renee, hola, hello, and then Cheryl. Helps keep you focused on what's important and improves all areas of your life. Great. So that's in response to my question. What if we started to use this? So I'm going to encourage you to use it, and love your point about spending time versus investing in it. Thanks for that. And I learned that recently. I mean, learned that concept recently. I can't remember where. I would like to give credit where credit's due, so it didn't come from me. But I mean, it's obvious, right? We're either using our time to further our happiness and well-being, or we're using our time to just avoid and distract ourselves temporarily from the fact that we aren't fully aligned with these things. Donna is saying, excellent, Amir. I'm finding that since I'm treating myself with more respect now, my old quote-unquote friends seem to be dropping away, like a lot all at once. This has been very helpful. I practice daily breath work. It's one of my non-negotiables. Excellent, Donna. Beautiful, and that's what I'd love to see. And if I could frame this in your terminology, all these points I made then are really what I'm suggesting you make as non-negotiables. Expressing love with every interaction, focusing on relationship, focusing on communication, focusing on respect. Those are non-negotiables in life. The more we do those, the more aligned your life will be. The less you do those, the most likely your life will drift into areas where you'll feel dissatisfied or upset or a victim, or just like, why is this happening to me? So great, great feedback, great interactions. Of course, if anybody wants to work with me, reach out. If anybody wants to, what I really would love is if you would share these videos. Share if the invite goes out, share it with people. Once the video goes up online, and this goes into the archives on YouTube as well as my archives on Facebook. So share the recording with people who you think this could really help. Maybe if there's somebody you're in relationship with that relationship hasn't been going so well, this may be one of those overtures to say, hey, maybe we could work on our relationship, or maybe just send it to them and see what they say, see how they respond before taking that deeper dive. And maybe that's where you can either dive deeper or you're going to exit that relationship. All right, so with that, I say until next time, namaste. We're bringing you greater and greater information.